Reaseheath can change your life.
The college is a very special place and I feel very proud to work here.
The college becomes your life and it drags you in and it holds you, it excites you.
I think there's no better job that can be done than one where you change people's lives, and that's what we have the absolute privilege of doing every day.
There's only a handful of land-based colleges left, and it's so important that young people get to study here and do these subjects.
So I'm really proud to be the principal and CEO as we celebrate 100 years of Reaseheath. It's really special, really truly special that Reaseheath has reached the centenary year. Absolutely worth all the energy that's gone into celebrating this magnificent moment in the college's history.
I think it's fantastic that Reaseheath can celebrate 100 years, and I think it's great that we've got such amazing archives that we can actually look back and just see what the college used to be like and just see how far we've come.
So I've really enjoyed doing the archives it started in lockdown. So I took over from a lady who'd set up the archive, her name's Alison. So it's been really, really interesting to look at all the old pictures, see the college when it first started in 1921 with 24 students and see how it's grown today. There was a really lovely account from a Land Army girl about her time here. So she got a lovely diary and a recording that she'd done, I think it was in 1990. So that was really, really very interesting.
The 3rd of February 1940. I was 17. I joined the Land Army and I went to Reaseheath for my training for a month training.
To look through the archives and the photographs right the way back with the Williston Women's Dairy Institute and the process that it's gone through, the changes, and that's across the board in the industry that we're serving.
It is very, very special that Reaseheath is celebrating its 100 years as an anchor institution in Cheshire. It's hardly surprising given the quality of leadership, and that's been there for decades of people who've been part of this journey.
W.B. Mercer was the first principal of Reaseheath, and Stephen Barrett, who was a tutor at the time, recalled that Mr. Mercer was an enthusiastic and successful leader, always willing to help and give sympathetic advice to his staff. Mr. Mercer took a special personal interest in ensuring that students could use timber, bricks and cement in maintenance work. James Keir Lamberton, always known as JK, became principal of Cheshire School of Agriculture in 1947. He showed staff a firm Scottish brand of understanding and was always there to help anyone in need.
So I asked Mr. Lamberton for a reference really, and he said, why do you want a reference, Keith? You're a farmer's son, he said. Farmers will never be out of business. They'll always be wanted. Farmers grow the food that keep this nation fed, and if people haven't got anything to eat, he said, they won't live very long. And I've never forgotten that, and it's still the same today.
George England, I think I would describe him as a real gentleman. He would know the family background of every agricultural student that we had at the college.
George was old school. You very often find George talking to staff in the staff room, mostly around football and cricket. He was a big Man United supporter. Him and his wife were, they were the foundation of the college really, as I remember. And they're probably the ones that formed the sort of family community of Reaseheath.
He was a great character and was just right for that period of time.
I'm Vic Croxon and I was principal here from 1987 to 2004. Well, I suppose the one key change that could be summarised as, in a single word, incorporation. Incorporation has been the key change over those 17 years. That meant that the control of Reaseheath moved from Cheshire County Council, and there was a new board, a new group of governors who were established to run the Further Education Corporation, which was Reaseheath College.
Vic arrived and he had lots of energy and lots of ideas.
I was in a special position really because I was Vic's deputy, so I got to know him very well, of course. and he was a man who was absolutely perfect for the day.
He had a very strong presence in the agricultural world and was very influential in terms of making sure the college was at the forefront at that time.
Very much the college that you see today was born out of that period when Vic Croxon was principal.
My name is Meredith David, and I was privileged to be the principal at Reaseheath for just over 14 years, from 2004 until July 2018. It was such a wonderful college to join and to lead with the team that was here.
Meredith gave you that sense of confidence and real clarity about the direction of the college and the land-based sector, and being aware of developments in education policy in the land-based sector as well.
What the campus is today in terms of the way it's been built and the resources and the buildings and facilities is very much down to Meredith's hard work.
We just started to expand and grow, and he built everybody's confidence, and we just got stronger and stronger.
It'd be fair to say I probably had a few rough edges when I arrived, and he helped me grow into the role. I have a lot to thank Meredith for in his patience, I think, in the early years.
I'm Marcus Clinton. I joined the college in May 2018, which was a fantastic feeling to be joining one of, if not the, leading land-based college in the UK.
Marcus came at probably a unique time for the college and introduced a very different culture, much more focused on being more collaborative, really engaging staff.
Well, he's got some great stories. For sure, they're really good. There's a lot of good stories that he's got. Brings them in at the right time, and there's a big power around storytelling, I think, in amongst getting messages out. And I think he does that really well. It carries the message really, really well. Sometimes the meetings don't start straight away because there's a bit of a chat about Chris de Berg or someone like that beforehand, and then you get into the stuff.
I was so pleased when Marcus was appointed because I knew of him, I knew of his success previously, and he's continued to lead with his team the college in a wonderful way and continue to invest.
Marcus has settled in extremely well into the college, got his own way of doing things, but again very personable, and will definitely take the college forward in the next few years.
It's been a real privilege to be in that role and be part of the college's development, but also now an incredible opportunity to celebrate 100 years of amazing memories and achievement.
So over the year we've incorporated the 100 years into all of our events. With lambing we looked at 100 years of agriculture.
Personally, I was involved in the lambing, 2 full weekends of just loads of people coming in to see all our lovely little lambs.
With Family Festival, every department looked at the history and involved the students in the history of their department and in their sector.
Another great event is seeing different people from around the community, not just Reaseheath, coming in and celebrating 100 years.
Some of the projects that our students have been involved in this year include the Queen's Green Canopy. So our agriculture and countryside students were involved in planting a number of trees on campus, which is a lovely lasting legacy for the college.
Obviously studying conservation, I'm all about sustainability, and tree planting is a big part of helping with that. We planted loads of trees last year around campus, so it'd be great to come back in years and see what it's turned into.
We've had a flower bed in Nantwich Town Centre. We've done a centenary cheese that was introduced at the International Cheese and Dairy Awards this year.
We have made a huge cake, and when I say huge, I mean huge. We've got 12 tiers going on. It starts at the bottom of the cake with the Reaseheath farm, goes up to the Reaseheath Hall, and then each layer depicts a different area of Reaseheath.
We've done lots of different events throughout the year. So one of the most enjoyable for myself has been our afternoon teas. So we've connected with some ex-staff and some ex-students, and we've brought them into the college, and they've been able to look through the archives that relate to their specific departments, and then they've told us some of their stories. So it's been great to connect with those.
I've been invited along to Reaseheath today as part of the alumni to have a look round and celebrate part of the celebrations of this 100 years of this wonderful place. As an ex-student and an ex-member of staff, I've had a tour of the campus and a thoroughly enjoyable afternoon and lovely memories. And thankfully we've still got those memories, although some of them are fading a bit nowadays.
My part of the Reaseheath 100 celebrations has come in the form of hosting a podcast. My target is to interview 100 people, past students, past members of staff, all people from our alumni community. Particularly enjoyed the very, very first interview I ever did, which was actually with my father-in-law as a prototype for this series. Sadly, he passed away a year ago, so to include his memories of not only studying here in the 60s, but also living here in the 50s at Old Hall, so that was particularly special.
Our countryside and conservation students worked really hard on our heritage trail this year, and at the centre of the heritage trail was our Reaseheath centenary bridge, which has been on the campus for many years, and the team there have brought it back to its former glory, and we were delighted this year for that bridge to be opened by His Royal Highness the Duke of Gloucester.
We've actually managed to connect up with alumni that we never knew their stories before, one of which is Katie, who actually started up RAG. To hear her stories of how it started and some of the similar events that we do now, such as like the tractor pull, it's quite nice to see that even though we've improved in a lot of things, there's some things that have always stayed the same, which is quite nice to still be part of.
I was on the staff at Bishop Burton College in Humberside, and we decided to start a RAG committee. And one of the main members of the committee was a girl called Katie Johnson. And when Katie left Bishop Burton College to come to Reaseheath to do the dairy herd management course, and she was full of enthusiasm and she thought she wanted to do the same at Reaseheath. And Katie started up a very successful RAG, and lo and behold, it's continued every year since then and has now made all that money for charity.
5 of us took part in a skydive, which was absolutely amazing. We raised lots of money from that. First time in a plane, so it was a bit nervous, but I absolutely loved it. Yeah, I'd love to do one again.
We did the dragon boat racing on the river in Chester. That was really good fun actually, and it brought in most of the other departments across the college. So we had a couple of teams and we took all barbecues and we had the gazebo up and we had quite a presence there, so there was a Reaseheath presence at that dragon boat race. We were very competitive. It was the whole college coming together. I think that was what I enjoyed about it the most.
Over the years that RAG has been held at Reaseheath, the amount generated for charity is £312,000. Remarkable achievement.
It's another important thing from a society point of view that adds growth to students, because some students probably come in, they may never have thought about, oh, what could I add to society? What could I do? Could I volunteer? Could I raise money for a charity? Should I get involved in something? So it's just another thing to add to their experience and their self-awareness, so that when they go into the wider world and they develop their career and they have children and what have you, they've got that type of ethos, which is going to be adding some positivity to society as well.
Being at the heart of the community has always been important to Reaseheath. Whether it's students supporting community projects, massive experiences like the arena crew at the Horse of the Year show, wonderful opportunity for those students, and again is that industry-focused, career-ready element coming through. There's so many ways in which the community access the college, use the facilities, and we're out there supporting the community as well.
I couldn't be associated with a place like this for as many years as I was here without having some very fond memories, very favourite memories. I suppose I should say, first of all, I met my wife here when I first came, and we've now been together for over 54 years, and we raised our family here.
We actually both met here and we're now married, and we've got 2 young children, 2 girls. Danny was a keeper. And I'd just moved into a lecturing role, and it was cleaning out duck ponds, wasn't it?
So it was, yes. Yeah, one of the first things we did together, wasn't it?
We had big long hoses, and they were actually just behind us here. People often ask how it is, because obviously I'm curriculum area manager, so effectively a boss of Danny, but it's the same at home really. So.
Yes, unfortunately.
Highlights. Wow, study tours with Nicholas Blakemore.
Oh, yeah, we've had some, we shouldn't really talk about them years ago, but yeah, we've had some really good study tours. We've been to Holland, took some students down to Cornwall.
And the best one was when we went to Tennessee. So we all went to Nashville, happened to go twice. The first time we got stuck there with the ash cloud. So instead of being there for 10 days, we ended up being there for 23. And we had an absolute ball.
Colleges ended up sending money over. We had a really good time for the 3 weeks on the college, so it was, it was quite enjoyable. Don't tell the principal then though, it was a horrific time really because we were stuck, but yeah, no, it was really good. It was a great time, good days, good times.
The people, very important. The people here are very good. I've had some wonderful times with the people and social activities that we had over the years.
We had some good fun. Friday night, yeah, we were in the bar on Friday night. We were revising, we had our folders next to us, but we used to play some good drinking games. Because we were slightly older when we started the course, there was very few people that weren't allowed to drink in the bar. So there was a few photographs behind the college bar of those that were not 18, and as you got to your 18th birthday, your photo got pulled down so you could drink.
I remember it was my birthday. It must have been, I think, my 19th birthday. But I went up to my room, and our room shared with Graham. His stuff was all in the room, but mine had gone. My bed, my wardrobe, my posters around the wall, my Toya Wilcox poster, who I still love Toya Wilcox, I'm showing my age. In those days, you could get from our floor down to the main hall. And as I got to the main hall, there was my bed. In the middle of, the main hall, as you can see it now, with my wardrobe. They'd put all my posters and everything around the wall in the main hall. And then all of a sudden everybody appeared, laughing and like wetting themselves. I did see the funny side eventually.
Remembering the Christmas parties, there was a staff Christmas party of which members of staff and their spouses were invited to. And that was held in what is now the staff room. And to think, trying to fit the number of staff we have here at the college in there in one go, never mind their spouses, it just wouldn't happen. But there was a children's Christmas party also, and that was held in the main hall.
So I do remember one time having Santa Claus fire out of the chimney in the main hall. That was always something I remember as a child.
Every child would receive a present as we sat cross-legged on the floor. Apart from that one year when a member of staff failed to come down the chimney because they got stuck, which caused a little bit of sort of confusion and disruption at the time, but it was all passed off.
But the other times were those quiet times I got to sit and contemplate as a young boy, doing some fishing on the lake here at Reaseheath, and I thought I was in this magical world really, and now I'm here, I realise how big the place really is, and in those days it was just fantastic to be part of that as a young child.
We remember Peter Green, don't we? And I was out with some students in the goat paddock and he came out to do an observation on somebody.
Goats can be rather, I don't know whether it's just me, but rather attracted to individuals.
He came over to talk to some of the students and he just happened to put his, you know what's going to happen.
Suddenly there was this tremendous rip.
Shambles after that.
I think he ripped his coat, didn't he, and pulled the pocket off it.
I've had that since I started here, you know.
I wasn't best pleased about that. I don't think I penalised Lisa for the lesson observation though.
Certainly probably the biggest, proudest moment has been becoming employed at Reaseheath. The moment I was told I got the job, I felt like I'd been given an OBE. It was just almost like a recognition of success.
I think one of my proudest moments was when I became camp for horticulture as well, because the tradition of horticulture as a subject area being delivered at Reaseheath and the history associated with that, that felt like quite a important moment really.
It's wonderful sometimes when you get a chance to sit and reflect on those memories. And one of those in particular was brought back to focus recently with the passing of Her Majesty the Queen. And my favourite memory is her visit.
We were so privileged to have her visit the college back in June 2010.
I think that was one of the most special days, certainly of my career at Reaseheath. I had the fantastic opportunity to be with the press when she was over at Equine. So we got to see the Queen in an area that she loves more than anything as well. She was totally relaxed and obviously really enjoyed spending time with the students and talked to them very openly about the horses.
Just seeing the expression on her face just light up when she was watching the riding display was just fantastic. So we were so honoured to have that visit, and I feel very lucky to have been able to be working at Reaseheath during that time.
But she was so good with students and staff. She put people at ease, she communicated so well, and she made everyone feel special.
She did come round the corner and stopped and was interested in what we were doing and came over and asked a question, and I was like, oh God. No.
She went out of her way to talk to several students and staff, and my recollection of that occasion was that everybody in the room took something away from that, felt they were all important and that they were really proud to be part of Reaseheath.
There's no prouder moment in the academic cycle than our graduation ceremonies. You know, sitting there with all the splendour of Chester Cathedral and seeing our proud students and their proud families as they cross the stage. But it's slightly scary having to read out their names and make sure I get it right in front of all those people.
A very important partnership for the college is our strategic alliance with the University of Chester. We want to be sector leading in a fantastic collaboration between FE and HE to really enhance their student progression opportunities, look at how we can maximise the experience of students at both the university and here at Reaseheath, and to do some really good joint projects with employers where we're harnessing everything that each institution can offer with our staff, our students, our facilities, and in partnership with those employers. So that's a really important partnership for us, and we look forward to seeing that flourish and grow over the next few years.
One of the things the college does really well is give students such a great experience. We try to invest a lot of time building students' resilience and confidence as well. I think that's what Reaseheath does a lot of, and that's obviously one of the best things about doing the job, because you see that in the students. When we do the Student of the Term Awards, some of the testimonials there that the course managers have written, and it's really empowering.
My main happiest memories are seeing students achieve. Remember one particular awards day where a group of my students actually had colluded with the Vice Principal. They stopped awards day and then marched up the aisle with a bunch of flowers, gave them to me, and then proceeded to chant Team Reaseheath on the stage, and that is just one of those memories that will stick in my memory forever.
Reaseheath will have way more than another 100 years ahead of it. It's such a special place.
We are very fortunate here at Reaseheath that we've got a real broad church of people serving on the governing body to ensure that we can develop a strategy that is deliverable, fit for purpose, ambitious, challenging, and puts the college in a really strong position going forward.
It's just a really exciting time, the developments in each of the different areas that are happening, how each of the different curriculum areas, how education itself is changing with new T-levels coming on board.
The T-levels have helped us further develop our resources. So obviously one of the strengths of the college is the resources that we have here and some of the specialist facilities, and the T-levels have helped enhance those.
And with T-levels has come some unbelievable investment. So we're just having a brand new workshop built with 3 classrooms. That's T-level investment. And there's also £300,000 worth of specialist equipment to come along with that as well.
I think there's things within those T-levels that sit really well with the college, because the whole push around industry placement and the value that adds to the T-level. Again, it's aligned to what we do anyway, so we're quite familiar with establishing those links with employers and providing those opportunities.
Being industry focused and career ready is the college's mission. This is really important, that we prepare our students and we send them out, and we have a proud record of getting students into fantastic positive outcomes. To do this, working with employers has always been at the heart of the college's work.
It happened to be the centenary year that we began to talk to Reaseheath about collaboration with Caveris, and it turned out that it was a very good fit with Reaseheath having sustainable development goals in terms of future education needs and collaboration with industry. It actually turned out that that my father-in-law's parents had also been students of Reaseheath, and that was back in the 1930s. So in the centenary year where you're celebrating 100 years of history, it was interesting that in my particular family there was a family history.
Industry is constantly evolving and changing, and the things we're teaching today in 3, 5, 10 years' time will have evolved significantly, but it's nice to be able to look back and remember where it's come from. It's important to remember how things have been done in the past. There's a lot to learn from that as we move forward into the future and we take the technologies forward into the future.
Going forward, looking to the future now, there's the open atmosphere at Reaseheath toward working with industry, going out of their way to make it easy to collaborate with Reaseheath, and the shared goal of sustainability.
A lot of students now are coming to us saying, you know, what are you doing in terms of sustainability? You know, we've got a fear for where the future is. We can set that a real standard there and real support those people going into the industries that we serve.
We've got so much new investment coming in specialist technical facilities that are really going to help us refresh and revitalise our curriculum to make sure that it is teaching our young people the skills that they need to be successful in their futures.
As we increasingly develop this amazing estate, amazing campus that we have, increasingly use different technologies, that's what we need to showcase to our students, get them to be comfortable with that, have those transferable skills, and send them out there to follow that whole centenary of students who've gone out with such success.
I really am excited to see what the future is for the college.
Being part of the history of Reaseheath, obviously it going back till 1921, it's just very special, just carrying on the legacy of Reaseheath really.
Reaseheath sort of become part of our life. When you work with your friends, you have lots of fun memories, you know, it's always been a fun place to work.
We talk about this Reaseheath experience, we don't know what it is, we can't bottle it up, wish we could, but it's just a very special place to be, and I've no desire to work anywhere else really.
It is a big, we say it is a big family. That's probably why I've stayed.
I think Reaseheath will always hold a special place in my heart. I think I couldn't imagine myself working at any other college.
You know, what other job in the world could you come and stand next to Millie and the rich diversity of animals and our amazing staff and alumni? To be part of that on a daily basis, that's what makes it truly special.
I'm pausing because I'm trying to find the right words. It means the world to me, and it always will do.
Reaseheath can change your life, and life itself is to be seen here at Reaseheath in all its many facets.
What's so nice is I can genuinely say that in the 24 years I've worked here, I've always been proud to say I work here.
Everyone who's been here or has worked here has been touched by Reaseheath in some way.
Reaseheath means everything, because it's been everything for the majority of my working life.
I go up the main drive and it just feels like I'm coming home.
This is such a welcoming, friendly place. I've made so many good friends over the years here, and I really feel like I've grown not only in my career but as a person as well.
I've discovered things about myself that I probably would never have known had I not come to work at Reaseheath.
Because I've had such a long link with the college over 40 years, I'm sure it's probably imprinted in my DNA.
It's hard not to perceive it's still been here in 100 years, meaning what it still means and doing what it still does. I think if we could bring back some of those people from 1922, I think they'd be proud, as I would be in 100 years' time.
At the end of my first week here, Dave came over and said to me, "How are you feeling now about your decision to come here?" And I said, "You know what? I just feel like I've come home. I feel like I was always meant to be here in some way."